Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, the High Guy Jacobs, and today we continue our deep dive series into all the armaments currently available in Doomsday Last Survivor. And today we start taking a look at the the overall armaments. Now I'm going to disclaimer this entire episode, let's precursor this entire episode by telling you that 99 out of 100 of the armaments that we will deal with in the overall situation can in fact be demolished and turned into other fragments, because there are literally no good overall heroes that do anything except gather. That's going to be your gathering heroes, right? Overall heroes are going to gather. Overall is going to gather. Let's see. Overall is going to gather. Overall is going to gather. So in this situation where everything is set, like overall, okay, he's going to do zombie hunting, so you could technically do some here, but when it comes to zombies are such a small part of the game, like you don't really need help killing zombies, that having the extra armaments on your zombie hunters is a wasted amount of might. Makes your matchmaking harder, makes it no reason. So in reality, having anything outside of gathering on your overall heroes is entirely pointless. Now, I have done a previous video in regards to gathering armaments, dealing with the gathering armaments when I dealt with the gathering lines, because there are specific armaments that are amazing to use with your gathering heroes only, and we will also go over those here as well. The point is to be efficient with your armaments. Just a couple of key reminders. Number one, like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, and join the community. Number two, do yourself a favor and make sure you've decided what your main focus is. Number three, focus all of your equipment, parts, research, troops, heroes, armaments, everything into that style. And accept that that is going to be the best way for you to play. The toughest part about this game is that it wants you to spend on everything, but you have to be strong. Okay? And armaments are the same thing. So let's talk a little bit about armaments themselves, because I've mentioned this before, but it still seems there's a lot of people who miss this. Let's look at a march. Okay? I've got them all out gathering, but let's look at a march. If I look at squads and I look at deployed squads, we've got, let's look at this one. We've got Sarah Vandermeer and Chris. Okay, Sarah Vandermeer and Chris. I'm going to put armaments on Sarah Vandermeer, gathering armaments, which we'll go over. Let's look down at Chris and realize that she doesn't have anything. I've said this before, I will say it again. The co-leader only brings their skills and now their level. Their level determines march size. Their skill determines efficiency in the march. They don't bring armaments. They don't bring beasts. They don't bring survivors. They don't bring anything else. They only bring their skills and now their level 2. Okay? So just like you have armaments, you don't need armaments on all of your heroes. You only need armaments on your leading heroes of your marches. Okay? So in theory, that's 5 main marches and maybe 5 gathering marches. I've set up 4 marches, 4 gathering marches, because there's 4, gathering types. And I typically leave my 5th one to do hive minds and zombies. But that's just me. If you want to do 5 rows of farmers, you're welcome to do that too. Now, let's talk about those armaments for overall heroes. Starting with the weapons, overall heroes are going to bring the Steel Ice Axe, providing squad lethality and damage dealt to zombies, or the Universal Shovel, providing squad lethality and gathering speed. So here's a prime example. Can I put this on an overall hero that will provide me bonus damage to zombies? Absolutely. But again, zombies are such a small thing. You get to a point where any of your heroes, right? You don't need to boost your heroes to kill zombies. It's wasted experience. So anytime you get a Steel Ice Axe, demolish it and thank the gods for your fragments. If you get a universal shovel, however, go ahead and keep it, because that 7.2% gathering speed boost is a nice little bonus. And that goes up, I believe, to 30% by level 5? I don't remember exactly. I don't have a level 5 one yet. And they won't let me look at the level 5 stats. But it goes up a lot. I believe it's 30%. And so any bonus that you get to gathering speed is going to be beneficial. Now here's the secret. Because this can go on all of your gathering heroes, you can go ahead, just like I've done here, I'll show you, and put a universal shovel on each one of your gathering heroes. I've only got 4 main gathering leaders. They each get a shovel. Now, granted, I'm using the elites right now, which is totally fine, but that's effectively the difference, okay? I'm using elites until I get the legendaries. Next, when we look at helmets, you've got adventure goggles, providing squad block and, again, zombie kill experience. Or you've got stealth goggles, providing squad block and steel gathering speed, specifically steel gathering speed. Now, here's an example of an armament that only goes on one of your gathering heroes. It only goes on your steel gathering hero. Okay? Any other ones that you get, demolish and break down for fragments. Pretty easy. Next, we look at the vest fragments. We're going to see the Vagrant Jacket, bringing squad block and zombie kill experience. Or the Forward Jacket, bringing squad block and squad load. Now, here's a prime example of another piece of armaments that you can put on every single one of your gathering heroes. The Forward Jacket, providing squad load, you can put that on all 4 of your gathering heroes. All right, this allows you to bring home more from your alliance resource spaces. It allows you to send out less troops so that you have less vehicles at cost. Okay? Makes things a little bit easier for you in the long run. Next, we're going to look at the backpack. We're going to have the strap case, bringing wood gathering speed and squad load. And we're going to have the marching backpack providing zombie kill experience and squad HP. So again, marching backpack, demolish for fragments. Strap case, put on your wood gathering speed or wood gatherer, and as well, put it on each one of your gathering heroes, like I've done here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Yes, you're not getting the wood gathering speed on the steel gathering speed bonus, but you are getting that squad load, which is beneficial. Okay? Now, if you're looking at legendary armaments for your gathering heroes, you're probably in a situation where you're spending a decent amount of money, and at which point the might that we're talking about, because remember, a lot of what we're talking about is might efficiency, right? It's being smart with your might so that you're not getting inflated, and thus increasing your responsibility to most alliances. You have to realize most alliances, like ours, anticipate larger players performing and playing better. The higher your might, the more you're anticipated to do. Right? In our alliance, for example, we've got a fairly strict goal of a 1-to-1 ratio. What that means is every event that we participate in, every player is shooting for the same amount of points as they have might. If I have 120 million might, I'm anticipating getting 120 million points. If I don't get that, right, it means 2 things. I'm not participating hard enough. I'm not playing to the best of my abilities. Or I'm misrepresenting my capability. Maybe I have 30 million might in cars. That's way too many cars. Remove that. Well, now my quote-unquote responsibility is less. It's might management as well, okay? So it's based on the entire same thing. So if you're talking legendary armaments for your gatherings, again, you probably spend, at which point the might isn't a problem for you. But this is a lot for the free-to-play and low spending. As you'll notice, I've done these in elites, okay? I've done these in elites specifically because it's expensive to get them in legendaries and you don't necessarily need them. There are a couple I have, for example, like the farmer safety boots, providing me 10% food gathering speed. But again, this one is just going up, leveling up organically. I'm not investing any other fragments to do that, okay? For the pants, we're going to be looking at work overalls, providing squad lethality and damage dealt to zombies, which you can immediately demolish for fragments, and then the minor pants providing squad lethality and oil gathering speed, another example of one that you will only put on your oil gatherer. Okay. Same with the shoe frag boxes, or the shoe frags. You're going to be looking at the farmer safety boots, which we looked at, providing food gathering speed and squad travel speed, versus the sturdy hiking boots, providing damage dealt to zombies and squad basic attack damage, both of which this one, for example, you can go ahead and demolish and thank for the frags. Granted, you could go ahead and put the farmer safety boots on every single march because of that additional squad travel speed. Being able to escape with your cars is beneficial. But in my opinion, in that situation, I'm not necessarily as concerned because I would prefer to just farm smart and keep my eyes open for any invading forces from there. So from there, I only have that on my food farmer. Okay. Now, if we look at the superbs, we're going to see a little bit of a mix, okay? We're going to see damage dealt to zombies, squad attack, squad lethality. Whoops. We're going to see squad block, squad defense, and squad zombie kill experience. We're going to see squad block, squad HP, zombie kill experience. Damage dealt to zombies, squad HP, and zombie kill experience. Damage dealt to zombies, squad attack, squad lethality. And finally, squad travel speed, squad basic attack damage, and basic attack damage dealt to zombies. So I misspoke. There is no mix here. This is all specifically for damage dealt to zombies. So anytime you get any of these armaments, feel free to dismantle them and take the extra fragments. Now, what do I mean by extra fragments? Let me explain. When you dismantle them, they're going to give you bolts, right? Metal shards, they're called. When you dismantle armaments, it gives you metal shards. You then come to the armament shop and you get the parts that you want. Every single week, this resets. You can get 10 choice boxes and then 5 of the specific ones that you want. So save up for those and spend them in the armament shop. Okay? But literally, folks, that's it for the overall armaments. The last video I'm going to do for the armament series will cover devices. And all I'm doing is waiting for the next event that will have the devices to look at. It will be a slight different video just because devices are a little harder to get. Right? You've got the IE augmenter, you've got the optic camo net, things like the nano purifier, things like the plasma blade. And they're not available just in regular, it's not available through these armament frags, you can only get them in events. So I have to wait for those events to come up for me to dive into them. But that will be my next deep dive video to wrap up the entire series. We've gone through all, right? We've gone through infantry, riders, ranged, leaders, overalls. Right? We've gone through all of those. Next, we have devices, and that'll wrap up all the armaments from this. But this should give you a ton of information and a ton of preparation and a ton of ideology on how to maintain your might, maintain your armaments, and use them to the best of your abilities. So, quick recap. Okay? 9 out of 10 of the armaments in the overall section you can dismantle for fragments. Every one of these superbs in the overall section you can dismantle for fragments. Okay. Armaments are only available or only efficient and effective on the leader of the march. They are not effective on the co-leader. They are not effective on anyone else. Just having them on your random players is not beneficial. It's just inflating your might. And the only ones you should have outside of your main leading 5 marches are your gathering heroes, which you should equip with gathering hones. And please watch the video I did on how to hone for free, especially when you're doing when you've just acquired a bunch or you're working on your gathering ones. Without spending a bunch of hones, you can actually get some hones for free and set yourself up first before you need to spend hones. So please, 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 please check those videos. They are on my channel in the history. They're absolutely there. I've left them all there. Okay, but that being said, folks, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for tuning in. If you like what you saw, click the like button, share the video with your friends, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and if you can afford it, go ahead and click that join button, become a member today. Help support the channel in the only way that I currently have available. I have yet to start a Patreon. I don't think that we're big enough to do that yet. I do obviously plan to get there eventually. as we grow the channel and grow the experience. Okay, so let's work together. Let's make this community something great. And again, love, peace, chicken grease. And until next time, stay lifted.